What's up guys? Today we're going to be making this, and at the end of the video I'll put all the QR codes for the brushes I used. First, for the background I chose like a dark blue color, fill that in. Adding another layer, turn on the symmetry tool, turn it to 50, use the polyline tool, that's what it's called. You just tap and drag and just make a window. You can adjust the thickness from the brush and then just add another layer under that frame using a lime green color, and I'm just gonna fill that in. Make sure you turn your polyline off and just fill the window in. Make sure you add a layer under the frame we just made. After that, I add another layer over it and use the tool right beside the symmetry tool. Choose a color black and just make some shapes for the stained glass window look. It's easy to achieve it this way. Add another layer under the frame and the design layer, clip it to the lime green layer, and then use the texture brush on an add layer and change colors and add the texture. Adjust the opacity of the layer, merge them together on the frame layer, and with the design use this filter and just adjust it to your liking. The environment color, the height, the smoothness, everything to your liking and the way you're going to be making this piece. After that, I'm just gonna be adding some straight lines for some extra details. You can skip this if you like. Do this before you do the filter, but it's completely up to you. Now just duplicate and line all of these windows up into one line, one straight line, and merge all of them together. Now use the perspective tool to adjust it however you'd like and make it bigger in the front and smaller at the back, because the further the object gets, the smaller it gets. Now I'm just gonna take a black color and just make some straight lines like so. I'm taking my sweet time here. Make sure you do this on another layer, straight lines, and then just use the perspective tool to adjust them against the window like that. Once you're done, go back to the polyline filter and just make little arches like connecting to the end of the canvas on each of the lines we just made to make like little poles and arches, just to give it some structure and not to make it look too plain and some details. And once you're done with that, just erase the edges of the poles like so to make them look more 3D. Now I'm just adjusting it a little more using the same perspective tool to my liking until you can just use it until you're happy with it. And once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna use a checkered brush to add a flow, a dark blue grayish color I'm picking here. Oh my god. I'm just using the square shape and just filling that in. Yep. Okay, now bigger. I'm gonna use the perspective tool again to line them up properly, like on the floor. Make the floor bigger at the front, smaller at the back, like I said. After you're done with that, you're just gonna duplicate the window layer and flip it over. Use the perspective tool to make the little reflections on the floor, like light coming out and the reflections. Put it on add layer, lower the opacity, and use the blur to make it more reflection like. Do the same with the arches and the poles we just made. After that, just add some details to the poles. I'm using a felt tip soft. Now just do as you can see, because I don't even know how to explain that. Now make the background darker from the top using an airbrush and lighter at the bottom. After that, you'll just adjust the opacity, add another layer, and just use a textured brush. I'll add the QR at the end to just give it a bit more texture and details. Use the perspective brush again to make it like a wall. Add another add layer and just make it glow. Lower the opacity to your liking. Now just add a lot of moss and leaves everywhere, on the floor, over the poles, around the poles, windows, everywhere. Once you're done with that, using a lighter color, I'll just add the sunlight hitting the grass and the moss to make it look more alive, more detailed overall, and just add it everywhere. And then add shadows on a multiply layer under the grass. Adjust it to your liking. Once you're done with that, add a multiply layer, cover the entire thing with a dark shade, and then lower the opacity. Add another add layer to make it glow. Add the rays coming through the windows and everything else. Adjust the opacity until you're happy with it. On the checkered floor layer, I'll just clip another layer to it and just add some light to make it more visible. Now I'm just adjusting the opacity again. Add another add layer, add some final details, and it's done. That's how I made this. I'll put the QR codes at the end. These are all my layers.